Hi, this is Keri at McKinney Knittery, and on today's episode of Stitch School, I'm going to show you how to join in the round. I found that when I was a new knitter, whenever I would cast on my stitches and join them in the round, I would get a gap between the first and last stitches on my needle that I didn't like. So I did some searching and found a technique that works for me to help close up that gap, and so I want to show you how to do that. All right, so I've got my yarn and my needles here, and I have cast on 100 stitches. And I want to make sure that my cast on edge is not twisted, so it's nice and straight here. If you accidentally join your yarn and your cast on edges are twisted, they'll stay that way forever. So always double check that. Now, for the method that I use, I need to cast on one extra stitch. So I've got 100 stitches, which is what my pattern calls for. I'm gonna cast on one extra stitch. So now I have 101. What I'm gonna do now, this is the part that helps me to not have the gap, is I am going to take the last stitch on my left needle and I am gonna slip it, I slip it purlwise over to my right hand needle. And now I am going to take what used to be my first stitch on my right needle and I am gonna slip it over this new stitch. You kind of have to hold it. It wants to come off the end, but I'm gonna pull it over and off that extra stitch. Now I am gonna take my tail and my working yarn and just really pull that and tighten that up. So that tightened up that stitch really nicely and I don't have a gap there between the two stitches. So now you can take your stitch marker and you can place it for your to mark your beginning of round, and then you're gonna follow your pattern. I am going to be knitting a 1x1 rib. That's a common way to start a sweater. So I'm gonna just knit a little bit here. I'm gonna do a knit one, purl one, and I will knit a little bit off camera so you guys don't have to watch me go all the way around. And then I will show you what happens when I get back to the beginning of my round. All right, I am back to the beginning of round. I've got one more stitch before I get to my stitch marker. So I wanna show you what happens next. If you found that you've got a little bit of a gap, like this is loosened up a little bit for me, you can just give that tail a tug and that's gonna pull that right back together for you. That's the part I used to struggle with. So I'm gonna knit this last stitch right here before my stitch marker. And I'm back, I'm gonna just tug that one more time, get it nice and tight. Now I'm back to the beginning so I can slip my stitch marker and I would just continue on my pattern. So let me knit a couple and then I will show you how nice that join is. So I'm gonna get a couple of stitches past it and now you can see that looks like a continuous join that doesn't have a big gap, and then you will just keep working through your pattern.